Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Hope you're all doing amazing today. In this video, we're diving into the latest updates about Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos. You don't want to miss this. So make sure to stay tuned till the end and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Emotional collapse. Kelly Ripa can't hold back after Mark's troubling diagnosis. The studio lights of Live with Kelly and Mark have always felt like a second home to Kelly Ripa. Warm, familiar, comforting. For more than 2 decades, those lights have watched her laugh, cry, tease her co-hosts, and hold millions of viewers close to their TV screens. But on the morning that changed everything, those same lights felt colder than ever. Too bright, too heavy, too revealing. Kelly stood backstage, her hand gripping a mug that had long gone cold. She kept staring at it as if it could somehow ground her, but nothing felt solid anymore. Not after the night before, not after Mark's diagnosis. The truth was still too fresh, too raw, too unbelievable. She replayed the doctor's words over and over again, each repetition cutting deeper. Mark Consuelos, her partner of nearly 30 years, the father of her children, her co-host, her anchor, was now facing something that neither of them ever imagined would become part of their story. Kelly blinked, but the tears refused to stop welling. She wasn't supposed to be crying. Not yet. Not here. Not where millions of people would soon expect her to smile. But how do you smile when the person who has held your heart for 3 decades suddenly needs you to hold theirs in return? The night everything changed, just 20 hours earlier, she and Mark had left the doctor's office with hands intertwined, though both felt too numb to speak. They had walked in hopeful, expecting the visit to confirm something routine, stress, fatigue, maybe another MRI, nothing more. Mark had been pushing himself on and off camera for months. They thought it was burnout. But the moment the doctor walked back into the room with the results, both of them sensed the shift in the air. That heavy silence, that forced calm. The type of tone doctors use only when they don't want to cause panic, but cannot hide concern. Mark had taken the news with quiet strength, the kind that made Kelly love him even more, even though his eyes told her all his fears at once. She had squeezed his hand so hard that her knuckles went white. It was the only way to keep herself from collapsing right there. When they got home, the facade crumbled. Kelly cried in the kitchen while Mark tried to be the strong one. He pulled her close, whispered that everything would be okay, that they would face it together, just like they had faced every single twist life had thrown at them. But even he couldn't pretend completely. Not after the diagnosis landed like a weight on both of their chests. For hours they talked. For hours they stayed silent. For hours they held each other because neither knew what else to hold on to. The show must go on. Even when the heart can't, Kelly had insisted on going to work the next morning. Mark wanted to cancel the show, but she shook her head. "If I stay home, I'll drown," she whispered. So they went in. 2 professionals, 2 partners, 2 souls trying to function while their world trembled beneath their feet. But the producers immediately sensed something was wrong. Kelly's eyes were red. Mark's energy was different. Their normally effortless chemistry had a subtle tremor beneath it. During rehearsals, Kelly kept losing her place in the script. Mark reached out to steady her hand more than once. No one said anything, but everyone knew something was brewing. Right before the opening music began to play, Kelly felt her throat tighten again. Her chest burned. She couldn't breathe. She turned slightly so the cameras wouldn't pick it up, but Mark saw everything. He whispered, "I'm here. Whatever happens, we're together." That sentence, it snapped something inside her. The show started, the cameras rolled, the applause roared. Kelly forced her smile, but inside she was shattering. An impossible moment on live TV. 10 minutes into the episode, the pressure became unbearable. They were discussing a lighthearted celebrity story when Kelly suddenly went silent mid-sentence. Her voice simply vanished. Mark looked at her, alarmed. "Kel," he asked softly. She swallowed hard, unable to continue. Her eyes filled instantly. It was involuntary, like a dam breaking. The audience fell quiet. Kelly took a deep breath, tried to steady herself, but the tremor in her voice betrayed everything she had been trying to hide. "I'm sorry," she whispered, barely audible. Mark placed a hand over hers on the desk. "You don't have to apologize." The producers cut to a commercial instantly. But even during the break, Kelly kept crying, her shoulders shaking with the weight of what she could no longer carry alone. Mark wrapped an arm around her, shielding her from the cameras that were still adjusting in the background. "I can't do this today," she said, breathless. "I thought I could, but I can't." Mark nodded. He understood. This was not the Kelly who always held it together, not the Kelly who weathered every storm with iron resilience. This was the woman who loved him deeper than she loved anything in the world. And love makes us fall apart in ways stranger than anything else can. The private pain behind the public life. When the show temporarily suspended filming for the day, rumors immediately began to swirl online. Viewers speculated everything: fatigue, stress, emotional overload. But none of them knew the truth. Not yet. Behind closed doors, Kelly and Mark were taken to a private room where she finally allowed the full emotional collapse she had been holding back since the diagnosis. "It's not fair," she sobbed. "You take care of everyone. You're the healthiest person I know. Why did this happen? Why now? Why you?" Mark sat beside her, pulling her into his chest as she cried into his shoulder. "I'm scared," he admitted quietly. It was the first time he had said it out loud. "But I'm not going anywhere, and neither are you." Those words, gentle, vulnerable, honest, made Kelly's tears fall even harder. She felt helpless. She felt terrified. She felt angry at the universe for daring to put the man she loved in danger. But most of all, she felt the weight of wanting to be strong for him, even when she herself was breaking. The world waits for answers. Within hours, fans began flooding social media with messages of concern. Clips of Kelly's on-air breakdown circulated rapidly. People began asking, "Is Kelly okay? Is something wrong with Mark?" But neither of them were ready to share the diagnosis publicly. Not yet. Not when they themselves were still processing it. Kelly spent the afternoon at home, sitting at the dining table staring blankly at her phone while hundreds of messages poured in from friends, coworkers, and even celebrities who had noticed her distress. Mark, despite everything, tried to lighten the tension. "You're more popular than the Super Bowl today," he joked softly. She gave him a weak smile. "That's not funny." He shrugged. "A little funny." She leaned into him again, appreciating the humor, because humor was the glue that had always held them together through everything. But this time, laughter wasn't enough. This time, they were facing a battle they never saw coming. The future they must face. By evening, the two of them sat across from each other on the couch, hands intertwined, talking through tears and plans and fears. Kelly asked him the question she had been afraid to ask earlier. "Are you really okay? Not physically, but here." She pointed toward his heart. Mark hesitated, then nodded slowly. "I'm scared, yes, but I'm also grateful. Grateful we caught it now. Grateful you're with me. Grateful we have time to fight this." Kelly closed her eyes, letting the tears escape again. "I don't want to lose you." "You won't," he whispered. "I promise you that." His promises had always meant something, but this time she clung to them with everything she had. Kelly's strength returns. Late that night, long after the world had fallen asleep, Kelly sat at her desk and opened her journal, something she hadn't touched in months. She wrote about fear. She wrote about love. She wrote about Mark. And somewhere in those lines, she found a small spark of strength again. Because love is not only about holding someone when things are easy. It's about standing beside them when life becomes terrifying, unpredictable, unfair. It's about fighting even when your heart feels like it's crumbling. And Kelly Ripa, despite her emotional collapse, was ready to fight for Mark with everything she had. A love that doesn't break under pressure. As the night came to an end, Kelly and Mark held each other close. Their future was uncertain, their fears were real, but so was their bond. And that bond, forged across decades, was stronger than any diagnosis. Tomorrow, they would speak to doctors again. Tomorrow, they would discuss treatment. Tomorrow, they would plan. But for now, for this quiet moment, they allowed themselves to simply exist in each other's arms. Because even in the darkest chapters, love writes the lines that help us keep going. And Kelly Ripa, though shaken, though hurting, though afraid, knew one thing with absolute certainty. She would not let Mark face this battle alone. Not now. Not ever. Stay tuned for all the updates about Kelly Ripa. We are the first to publish all the information about Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos, so stay with us to get all the latest updates. And stay tuned to our Kelly and Mark report for all updates.